This video is part 2 of my air conditioning install series, and thank God because it is 120 degrees here. Today I'm making a pit stop on my road trip across America to finish my van build on the East Coast, and today we're at the Cruising Comfort USA air conditioning manufacturing facility.
Hello.
Hi, how are
Hi,
you?
Tori, how are you? Come on
Good.
in.
Today I'm here with Chris at Cruising Comfort to talk about air conditioning and the importance of air conditioning. We're just talking about, I just had to buy a brand new laptop, $2,500, because my last laptop broke in the heat living in a van in Vegas. So, air conditioning is so important. It's a pivotal part of a van build. I'd love if you could talk on, what would you say to someone who's, thinking about getting an air conditioner, but they're not sure if they want to do that in their van? What would you say to them?
I would say it's important. I mean, the biggest thing, like here in Arizona, I'm a native, born and raised. I'm gonna look at her because I'm camera shy. So, but yeah, I mean, it's when people say it's hot. It's like different levels of hot. Just like when they say I need to be cool, there's different levels of comfort. Everybody's got a comfort level. Mine's 72, Michelle's is 78. So big difference, right?
Yep.
So yeah, it's a I've been building these for. We've owned the company since 2010, so we've been building them a long time, and we kind of geared them towards like different applications that would need cooling, whether it's like equipment or military or something like that. And then the van market found us because lithium became so available, and we get a lot of cooling out of lithium. So yeah, it's been a big thing.
So the big reason that I went with you guys for my current van build, because I do have a Cruising Comfort in my new van build that I'm working on, is because I love that it was undermount, that you have an undermount system. So that means basically my system is located underneath my vehicle instead of taking up roof space that I can use for solar panels or a roof deck, which I wouldn't have had the roof deck if I had to put an air conditioner on top. So that's huge to me.
Yep.
What is, the benefits of having an undermount over the usual roof mount?
Space, I mean, solar, like the cool thing about solar, like we just did the Orion rooftop with 800 watts of panels. And pretty much did it ourselves, got all of them up there. It was a job, but it's pretty much like portable shade. So it's got like a 4-inch gap in there. So you got a gap in there for air, and then you've got shade. So you're reducing that load from the sun, which is huge. Like we tell people, like always, if you can reduce the load, park half the vans in a little shade, or put an awning out, or cover a window, or something like that. It all helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and not having that unit on the roof, some days we can be pretty much even as far as what we're using and making.
Yeah. So the system that I have is the VES Icebox, right?
Correct.
I know you have a lot of different options of air conditioners. How does someone even know which one is right for them?
So we had the HD was the one we came out with, and that's the one we did for one of the major theme parks. I'm sure you know them. And we that was kind of like our core piece, And during COVID, we had, everybody had supply chain issues and things like that. So I'm just like, I get customers that want to break the system up, making it smaller, and then we were having issues with getting evaporators, or could have if we didn't buy enough, because the big guys are muscling everybody out, So I was like, okay, so I need another idea, and the Icebox kind of came about because we could package a compressor in a little small box, and then you can mount that. It's a little 10-inch square box. You can mount it somewhere, and then the evaporator was separate. So, like in our ProMaster, we'll show you a little later. Maybe go see the ProMaster. It's in a cabinet, and we duct out of the cabinet. So the cool thing about that unit is that it's on my fans. So the evaporator can be up high, and it can pull all the hot air from the top into the unit. So kind of when you think about air conditioning, you got to think about like not just like cooling the air, but like you're pulling heat from the air, and the condenser outside gets rid of that heat. So if you could pull that heat from above, hot air rises, cold air falls. So if you can pull all that heat, right at the top and do that, that's great. It's good for if you have a build like yours where you're building that everything from scratch. You can build around it. It's cool. HD is great if you already have a build that's already done. You just want to mount it in the garage area, do a couple vents, put the condenser underneath, and be done. That one's perfect for that. On the other hand, you can use the Icebox like the HD. You can have, because we had customers that are like, well, we want the Icebox or the HD built backwards. We want the intake on the other side. Can you make all the metal reversed. I'm like, that's another SKU. How many people want it? How many people don't? Well, with the icebox, you can have the compressor and you can move the evaporator either way, stack them, put them side by side, rotate the blower around. So it can act like the HD in about the same space as the HD. It might even be a little smaller than the HD together. So you can use it the same way. So you don't have to have one up, one down if you don't want to. So it gives you more choices, basically.
Hey, real quick, I want to talk to you about the sponsor of today's video, which is another way to stay cool whether you're living in your van, on the road, or even in a house. And that is Waterdrop's water filters. And Waterdrop was actually the very first company to ever sponsor this channel way back in the beginning. And that is because my dad kind of loves water filters. So real quick, I just want to show you the inside of his fridge and how 1/3 of the biggest shelf space in here is taken up just from his water filter collection. This was actually our very first water filter we got 8 months ago from Waterdrop, which is actually because the water and ice machine on our fridge broke. But we are upgrading today to this one because it was specifically made to be able to fit on a fridge door. So it will not be taking up the main part of the fridge anymore. This will purify 200 gallons of water per filter and reduce 30+ substances including chlorine, lead, microplastic, mercury, and more. And it has one-step installation where the filter just snaps right into place. This is better than a typical pitcher because unused filtered water can breed bacteria if left standing, but this filters water as it's being poured. And this also means the water can be used instantly after a refill instead of having to wait for the water to filter. It can purify water in 1 second and has one key control. If you want to learn more, check out the link in the description, but for now, let's get back to the video.
I think a big question people have about air conditioners is how loud are they? And how can you make it quieter while installing it? And what ways can you kind of move around with that?
Yeah, it makes, you make noise moving air. That's the biggest thing. And when we have our max evaporator, it's a big evaporator. And I have it in the ProMaster. I have all 4 systems in the ProMaster. So I can show, you come in and you go, okay, oh, I could do that, I could do that. So like the max is up here, and it's got the big evaporator. It's got 6 big 4-inch holes. And with more holes, it's easier for the air to move, and you move about 600 CFM with that unit, right? So, but it's less. It's not like you're cramming it. Like the HD and the icebox, you're cramming 390 CFM of air through a 4-inch hole.
What is CFM?
Cubic feet
per minute. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Wow, you threw that answer. Okay.
Nice having with that.
I'm in sales mode. Okay.
Okay, you complicated questions.
Yeah. So so basically, by running all that through that 4-inch hole, you make noise, like kind of like in the air conditioning of your van. You have the air coming out of the dash, right? And you have it on max and full. It makes a lot of noise, right? But it's moving a lot of air. So when you put it on low, it moves less air, quieter. Yeah. So with like the icebox, you can split the ducting right off the blower. We have a little splitter, and then you can go 2 4-inch vents, like one high and one low. Now you're spreading the air better, but you're also quieting it up because you're dividing that between those 2 vents. So it makes it quieter. Yeah. Turn the blower down, makes it quieter. So under 60 decibels is what it could be at the lowest. And we run it on high, and there's so many variables. Like you build it in a cabinet, you don't build it in a cabinet, you set it on the floor in a cargo van. It's designed to be like on ours. It's built into the cabinet under the bed. Some people put partitions there. You don't hear it. You don't hear the compressor at all. You can put isolators under the compressor for vibration. There's so many things you can do. And during the process, if you need help, just call me. Hey, what do you think about this? I get, people ask me that all the time. They text me pictures. Hey, what do you think about this? I do that, but I wouldn't do this. I would do this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think one of the big things people ask me about when they hear that it's an undermount system is they're worried that like, oh, you get that off-roading? Can you take that, into more, rugged territory? Do you have, I'm sure you get that question a lot too.
All the time. All the time. Yeah, so there are other undermount systems that use like copper coils that I would not put under a van. not built like our condenser is. Our condenser is it's a heavy duty truck condenser. So like the tubes on the outside are cast, and the crossover tubes. I don't know if I'm going out here.
Do my eyeglass.
But yeah. So it's like heavy duty, aluminum tubes. They're cast and they're thicker. So it's made to be in front of a truck, like going down the snowy roads and stuff like that. That's what it's made for, right? And so then the other part of it is the fans. So our fans are IP68 rated, means you can basically run them underwater. You won't hurt them. If you get mud in it and everything like that, you can hose it out with a power wash. Because it's so heavy duty and it's not fragile, you can hit it with a power washer and wash it out. Some people will just wrap them with like a Velcro. They'll just make their own little cover and just put a Velcro cover around it when they're not using it. But the thing is that with our adjustable brackets, you bolt that thing up there and you can push it up into place and tighten it up, and you can get it, at least 12 to 6 inches above the differential and everything else. So in most cases, the gas tank's the lowest thing in the vehicle, or not the lowest thing, the differential would be, but it's gas tank height. No.
I noticed that as well when mine was installed. It was with a bunch of other things, and there was things lower than it. So
and in the middle of the van, you're not worried about the tires over here kicking stuff up and everything. You put it up here, up by the body underneath.
Is there a best place to install it underneath the van?
No, and that's why we don't make vehicle specific kits, is because there's so many aftermarket pieces to put under a van. I have a water tank here. What about this area? Well, I got this going over there. What about over here? Oh, okay, yeah, I can put it over there. So you can put it facing forward, going down the road. You can face it like long ways on the side. We have people putting it under the rolling door, which I would put it on the driver's side because you're in and out of that door. Yeah. So if I was going to, put the fans on the opposite side. Like in Sprinters, there's a spot one of our builders found in between the frame and the outside rocker panel, and you could tuck it up there, and it's out of the way and it's off the driver's side. It's a nice place for it. So there's so many places to put it. I've got 4 under the ProMaster right now. People are like, I don't think I have room. Like I have a short ProMaster and I've got 4 condensers all underneath that thing.
Goodness. And your system comes with, you can get it with 1 fan or 2 fans, right? How does someone know if they need 1 or 2?
Comes with a standard fan, a standard single fan. And the reason being is we built this for commercial and heavy duty stuff. So it's like, that's why we have so many options. Like cranes and stuff, they don't care about double fan condenser. They don't care about this. They just want to switch, turn it on and off. So that's how it comes. And then you option it. Like as we add options, that's kind of like for the van market, basically. Yeah. So like you need a rock guard to protect you from rocks. We have that. The dual fan will actually, like in hotter climate, if it's 115, 118 degrees where you're going, you hold that whole thing absorbing heat and getting rid of heat. If you can get rid of heat, that's best. So the double fan condenser is bigger. And then if you're not in higher temperature environments, you can run the fans in a series configuration. What that does, it can drop in 12 volts, it can drop as much as 10 amps off the consumption. So the single fan will run about 13 amps. The dual fans will run about 12 because they kind of help each other out. And then if you run the dual fans in series, they drop to about 3 amps. So, but because you have 2 of them going, you can run them slower and quieter. Mm-hmm. So it's better for camping and things like that. Yeah. Yeah.
How many amps does it usually take? I mean, obviously it's going to change by day, how much heat is it, etc. So it's probably difficult. But I'm sure you get the question a lot. So if you had to average.
Amp draw. You typically the HD and the Icebox run around. I mean, they could draw 38 amps on their. A lot of companies will promote their eco mode, and it's like, I don't want to know eco mode. I want to know what does it draw max. Put it on high. I leave it. What's my maximum draw? That's why we rate our units with that. There's a little scale there. It's like 38 amps to 50 amps. So 50 amps is typical for on a hot day running at full speed. It's about 50 amps. They can, like I said, they can draw less. As they cool, the compressors are variable speed. They are true DC compressors. They're made in the United States for us. and they are super efficient, but they're super expensive. So that's the thing. It kind of goes to that current consumption. I'm not going to go off. Yeah, I am going to go off on this. So I'm going to go over here, and basically, like, a lot of the products out there are based on these Chinese aluminum compressors, and they look like a car compressor without a pulley on it. And they use them in rooftops, they use them in undermounts, they use them everywhere. Pro Air used to use them. They're no longer in business, but they were using the same compressors, and they're super power hungry, and they do about the same BTUs or maybe even less than ours. So ours is a little more efficient, and about the same BTU, about half. Sometimes those units can use 75 to 100 amps. Where on our stuff, give me 100 amps, I'll give you 20,000 BTUs with our twin compressor system. We use that for a lot of commercial applications. Yeah, so if you go into looking at some of those, look at the efficiencies. Our current consumptions, we rate them 115 degrees outside. That's what they do. So
yeah. And you guys built everything literally right here.
Right here. Yep.
Right below this window.
Yeah. I mean, and there's a lot of things we can't build. Obviously the compressors are built to our specs, and the metal. My buddy owns the metal shop that makes all my metal. He's down the street, and if I need a favor or I need something or I'm in a bind, hey, I need 25 of these. Like, can you help me out? Yeah. It's that whole. My buddy calls it the program. So it's like, hey, hook me up. I need 25 pieces. Can you pull it off an order? Same way with the harnesses. If we get in a pinch where we end up another order, we need 100 of them. Yeah, I can pull some off for you. I can make them real quick for you. So during supply chain, we were never in that problem with the shortages because we always had friends in the business. If you have a friend in the business, they take care of you. You take care of them.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. How long would you say an install of the system? I mean, obviously you have numerous systems, but how long would you say? We'll use my icebox. That's what I have, is the icebox as an example.
As far as build time?
Just installing the whole system into it.
Oh, installing it. Mm-hmm. I can build one on the bench in about 30 minutes. So.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna do a video on that. Well, it's just yeah. It's kind of like putting the pieces together and just bolting the pieces in place. That's the biggest thing. How am I gonna the evaporator? I'm gonna bolt it in place, and I want to duct it here, and just kind of planning it out.
Yeah.
A typical install probably, if somebody was going to do it like a dealer or something, would probably be about 8 hours to do it. Mm-hmm. It's about average, without modifying cabinets and doing all that stuff. We just recently Boho Vans here in town, great guys from Wisconsin. These guys are they were on Shark Tank and all that, and just great guys, and they're like, we want to do them, and we Brett did the first one, he's the owner, he's out there doing stuff, and building it, and then the second one, he's like, I want to do this, but we want to, French the cruising comfort, the icebox, the cruising comfort vent in the cabinet for the air return, and so it's like, you could spend. It's kind of like customizing, I'm a car guy, so you're gonna restore a car, you're gonna restore it the way you want to do it. So you could spend this many hours, or you could put some time into it and make it your own. Kind of like your cabinets and everything else. Invest the time, do it right. So yeah.
And it comes with everything you need, right? I think it has the L brackets that you need to attach underneath the vehicle. It has you have to get it charged at the end as well with Freon.
Yep,
right?
R134. And one of the biggest questions we get is, does it do heat? It does not do heat, and trying to make it a short story, but so typically heat pumps and all the mini splits, they're R410. They operate at higher pressures. Home HVAC guys service those, right? So our systems are R134A based automotive. It can do compressors are rated for YF1234, another automotive refrigerant. So it's kind of geared towards, you being on the road. I'm in nowhere America and I've got a problem. I need it charged. It's 4 years old or 5 years old, and I've got a leak in one of the hoses. I can overnight you hoses. I can overnight you some leak dye to put in the hoses. You can charge it up. If you know how to do it yourself, you can go to AutoZone, pick up 3 cans of Freon and a pump and a gauge set for $150 and charge it yourself, or they let you borrow them. I guess they run them cheap. But you could fix it. You can fix it wherever you're at, and that's what like a lot of our customers with the commercial stuff and the military and stuff like that. That's what they want is they want to be able to service it themselves and fix it themselves. They want to wait for somebody to come out. And a lot of home people that want to go into the mobile stuff, and even like the mini splits. There's a lot of home guys that, these are pre-charged mini splits, and they're like, they come out, they don't want to touch it. Well, a lot of them you can't fix them. You can't. Can you get the board for it? No. China doesn't sell just the board; they sell the whole piece. That's why, like our units, we make them, we make the boards, we make everything. So if you're like, hey, Chris, I need this, I can hook it overnight it to you, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to get that with all the other stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's why it doesn't make heat. Also, like, heating situations, you need heat like pretty much 24 hours a day usually. Days are shorter, less sun, snow, less solar, probably not a whole lot of solar,
Yeah.
So how do you, unless you're plugged in, how are you going to do that? Charging off of alternators. Well, that's a cool thing too. But now the automotive manufacturers are putting an engine stop feature on these. And I found out myself, I rented a Suburban. It's in Missouri. It's hot, humid. I'm sitting in the car waiting for Michelle, and all of a sudden the engine just stops. I'm like, out of nowhere, no chime, no beep, no nothing, just stops. I'm like, what is going on? Well, they don't want you to idle them longer than like 20 or 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like stop, start, only it doesn't start. It just turns off. So if you want to charge an extended period of time, you can't. Like on that Transit, one of our friends is doing a Transit, one of the 4x4 ones, the off-road one, I don't know what it is, but it has that feature. And he's like, yeah, it shuts off. And I'm like, yeah, that's the new thing. They don't want you to run in the engines. So that's kind of gone. So really solar is like just a great way of, I have a little trailer out here. It has 800 watts with flexible panels on it. It'll run the air conditioner, all day if it's got full sun, no problem. So
how much power do you think someone needs to have in their van to be able to have an air conditioner? If they're living, let's say, like here in Arizona right now where it's 110 degrees.
So that's the whole thing. So when I talk to customers, that's why we don't do a lot of distributors and things like that, because they don't ask the questions. They're signing up people and they don't ask the questions like, where are you going to be? Well, I'm going to be, it's 115 degrees. I'm going to sit in a parking lot and I'm not going to run the front AC. Okay, that's a whole nother level of cooling, because when it's 102-ish out there, that ProMaster will hit 135, 139. It'll hit over that on a 115 degree day. It'll hit over that. It'll hit like 140s. So you have 140 degrees that you're trying to offset. Now you got to remember too, everything's heat soaked. Everything's 140 degrees. The cabinets are, your MacBook is,
yep.
Right? And it's swelling and complaining, right? Yep. So everything's 140 degrees in that van. So you got to absorb that heat, all that heat, right? So even if you like open the door and let air flow and then close the door, cabinets are still giving off heat. The floor is still giving off heat. The metal, the glass, right? So I tell people, if it's 110, 115 degrees outside, you're going to sit in a van and not have help from the front AC, which is about 22 to 28,000. They don't rate it, but from what I hear, it's about 22 to 28,000 BTUs on the front, could be higher. So that's why your front AC does such a good job cooling, but it's connected to an engine. It has as much energy as it wants, right?
Yeah.
So cool down with the engine, run our normal systems like the HD, the ice blocks and all that stuff. Do the cooling down with that first, or at the same time, run them both at the same time, and then take over with the other one. Now, if you're like Midwest, like Iowa or something, and it's like 85 or 90, it's humid, that's a different heat. So, where 10,000 BTU, 12,000 BTU would be fine. Put some shades up. Amazon has these really cool covers for the front of the windshield that's outside, so it keeps the glass from getting hot in the first place. Mm-hmm. That's a great thing. We used those in the show and it worked. I mean, the glass was cool. It didn't even get hot. Yeah. So, those things are about 10,000 BTU. Our normals are 12,000 BTU. That's great for that. So, if you take those units that are just the normal units like the HD and the Icebox, back to your question, figure worst case 50 amps per hour. That's a battery, 100 amp hours. So say you have 2 hours running it nonstop, left the door open, left the thermostat on, but typically people are going to close the door, have the thermostat on, and it'll cycle on and off, and then the compressor will slow down and it'll go to like 38 amps or 42 amps or something like that. So you get longer run times, right? So I always say worst case scenario, figure it out. Worst case scenario, if you say, hey, I'm going to sleep at nighttime, it's going to be nighttime, and I've got 400 amp hours of batteries. Okay, so typically if the thing ran nonstop, it'd be, say, 4 hours, right? But at nighttime, even if it's here in Arizona, if it's 90 degrees out or 95 degrees at midnight, which it is very often, that thing will turn off. It'll cool it down. It'll cycle on and off. So maybe it's on half the time or a quarter of the time, so you're going to get, I say start out, if you're going to start out with 400 amp hours, just do your thing and see if it's enough, add a battery or two to get yourself some more,
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, or just go straight out and do 800 amp hours or 1,000.
If you got the kind of money.
You got that, yeah, lay it out. And that's the funniest thing is people will say, well, the other one's like, I'm going to do this one and yours is a little bit more expensive. I'm like, okay, but mine is more efficient. So you're less battery, less solar, less alternator, right? Because you got to power that thing.
Yes.
So if it's doing 75 amps or 100 amps, that's double. You need double solar, double battery, double lithium, or said that. So alternator, everything.
Yeah.
That costs.
Absolutely.
Big alternators.
I think for me, the cost I realized is I didn't have an AC in my last van. And then this week, I think I've been in 4 hotels this week, which is my second time ever in VanLife ever getting hotels. But I was living in Vegas. It was 117 degrees. The heat got to my head. So I realized I'm paying when I'm not getting an air conditioner. I'm paying for not having one. I paid for those hotels. I had to pay for a new laptop.
Yeah.
My iPad broke in the winter from it being too cold. So you're buying an air conditioner to prevent paying for other things to have to go around it. So people, they're like, oh my gosh, they're so expensive. And that was me in my first van build. I was like, it's kind of expensive. But also my schedule has become sitting in libraries to get air conditioning and to get cooling. And it gives you freedom to have an air conditioner. So
and there are mini splits out there that are $1,200 residential ones, and people are like, oh, they're pre-charged lines and all that stuff, and they look like they're plastic, looks like they're flexible, but those are actually Parker Zoom lines that they're using, and they're copper lines, they're hard lines. So when they start flexing and vibrating and stuff, they can't crack and they can't leak. Those systems are not made to go down the road. They're made to hook to they're on a house, So bumping down the road, like we had one system back here, and the inside was like a chunk of foam for the blower, in galvanized metal with sheet metal screws holding the thing together. All my stuff stainless steel, the compressor bases and stuff like that. The HD is stainless steel, and all the hardware is pressed in stainless steel hardware, stainless steel bolts. That HD unit was pretty much made. It's just like our boat unit. We put them in race boats. They do 150 miles an hour in the ocean. They get banged around. I've had them out there 6 years and just get beat up. They sink them. They send them back. The electronics aren't good underwater, especially salt water. So we replace those and ship them right back. Blowers are still good. The same blower motor that we use in our fans, still good. Went underwater, no problem. The compressors are good. The metal's good. So we just replace that and ship it back out. So it's a heavier duty version. It's more expensive, but it's more efficient than most. And
as well, those systems are more likely to break. And you're going to come back and you have the warranty here, you have that, you're going to be able to be on the phone and actually pick up and figure out how to fix things. And so you're paying, for that as well, that knowing that you're not going to have to buy it twice. Because you buy a cheaper system, you have to buy it numerous times. And
I have a story. Do you have time for a story?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. If not, you can just cut it out.
No, you're good.
Okay. Well, we're live, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Check it out. Anyway, so you have to listen to it. So the funny thing is, like Michelle for Christmas, I decided I want to get her a spa, right? Our friend goes, hey, they have inflatable spas. They're pretty inexpensive, $700. And he said, just buy that and see if you use it, then buy a real spa. I'm like, okay, cool. So I buy it. Get it out there. We used it a couple times. Everything comes up with an error. It's imported, and it has an error code. Don't know why. So every time I call this company or email this company, I call them, they don't answer. You email them, you have to include the receipt. Every single time you email them, you have to have a copy of the receipt. Do this, do that, don't do this. Email again, back and forth, right? Just send me a replacement part. That's all I want. right?
Yeah.
They don't have them. Call the 1-800 number. I'm like, that's a joke. I literally set my phone down for 2 hours. They never answered. And so at that point, we realized we wanted a jacuzzi. And so we put a knife in it, put it out for bulk trash, right? Throw it away. And that's my biggest thing. Like, we throw so much stuff, that plasma, that tells you how old I am. That TV there, you don't fix it, you throw it away. Everybody keeps throwing stuff. Our stuff is made to be fixed. So if it's 7 years old, 8 years old, send it back to us. We'll go through it. We can make harnesses, make our own harnesses, adapt to the new stuff, so don't throw it away.
Yeah.
We get over 10 years out of our compressors, and that's our biggest thing is just don't throw it away, But anyway, so the jacuzzi did get thrown away. And so Michelle goes, what do you want? And I said, we're going to go down to this local spa place, it's Cal Spas. And I go down there and I walk in and the lady goes, can I help you? Just look around, And I said, I went over to the parts store and it says, board service, $50 an hour, blah, 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 blah. And here's the price. And I go, you fix your own boards? And she goes, well, yeah, we fix all of our own stuff here. I'm like, I'm buying from you. Like that other one, I couldn't even get anything for it. This lady's like, yeah, we fix the boards, we build the boards, whatever. And I'm like, cool, I'm buying from you. Just because I went through that whole experience with the other one, just wasted it, threw it out, So that's like kind of like how my business is. We're like the Kirby vacuum. It's not fancy. It's just overbuilt and way overbuilt for vans, definitely. But it's simple. And when it goes to diagnosing stuff, it's like everything's split into like different system. I go, okay, so is the inside blower on? Yes or no? Is the outside fans on? Yes or no? They're separate. They're separate circuits. The compressor's a separate circuit. So I can narrow it down to what's wrong with it based on what's working, what's not working. And a lot of this other stuff, like these rooftops, like E05, the heck is E05? It's something with the board, it's some kind of failure on this. How do you get a part for it? Well, I went to one van builder, they had a stack of them, and they had problems with them, they were throwing them out. They would just send them a new one. Well, wait a second, but after the warranty, they're not going to send you a new one. So after the 1 year warranty, what do you do? You have to buy a new one?
Yeah.
So that's kind of we are what they're not. Boy, that just went from complex to simple.
There you go.
We are what they're not. We service, we answer phones, there's so many things we do that others don't. So that's my claim to fame.
Absolutely. So. And I've seen that. I've been here. I've seen it. I've had my own system. So absolutely. Yeah. All right. So where can people find you? Where can they search you up on social media or your website? Michelle's office.
I'm always in Michelle's office. Never up here. cruisingcomfortusa.com. We're on social. I think we're on social. We're definitely on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah.
I've seen it. I got you.
I'm a little older, so I'm not sure. Like TikTok, maybe. I'm not sure. But just hit us up there. There's everything on there goes to Michelle or I. So if you have a question or a concern or or have an issue, reach out. Especially if you have an issue after the warranty. A lot of people are like, well, the warranty's expired. Well, call us. Tell us what's wrong with it. We'll fix it. So.
Well, thank you so much for letting me interview you and talking about your system and
no problem.
all about
No problem.
Awesome.
Then we can go out and see. Did you want to see the ProMaster and all that?
Yes. So we're gonna make a full video of the ProMaster with all the different systems set up and going into the shop, and I'll have a full install as well on my YouTube channel of the whole process. So if anyone wants to learn more, there'll also be that on my channel as well.
Cool.
Awesome.
And I'll still be wearing the same shirt because I wear this every day.
That's okay. I wear like the same 5 skirts every video.
My employees are like black pants and that shirt.
Works. It's
yeah.
simple.
Then in the morning, I don't have to think about what I'm going to pick out.
People are always like, "You're always wearing dresses. That's like so complicated." It's one piece. I don't have to pick 2 pieces out in the morning. It's just one.
There's that movie. What was it called with Ryan? Not Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. Where he's in the video game. And he goes to the closet and it's the same stuff.
The Free Guy?
Free Guy. I watched that movie, I'm like, wow, this looks really familiar.
It's like you have choice. I get it.
Maybe I'm in the video game and I don't know.
Awesome.
Yeah, it takes all that thought process in the morning out of the way.
I support it. All
I'm
right.
done.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Again, if you want to find those free ebooks from Project VanLife to learn more about van life and how to get started. You can find that in the link in our bio, and we'll see you next time.